Tears were burning my eyes unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? But my cries were only heard by the speechless statues of the pioneers and the bird on the tree, which immediately flapped its wings and took off, crying out something in its own bird language, as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its after-dinner nap. I was left breathless from weeping and just lay quietly, sobbing. I was left breathless from weeping and just lay quietly, sobbing occasionally. After a while, I managed to pull myself together. My mind cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? That's right. It doesn't look like an experiment either. Why would it be? If this is just some crazy coincidence, then there's probably no threat. Anyway, for now, it seems there's no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my temples, and my hands were still shaking, but at least I could think clearly now. Right now, there is nothing I can really change anyway. So no matter how much I think or how mad I get, it would only make things worse. Until some actual facts appear, there is really no point in making guesses. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging about here. This camp, if of course it really is a camp, looked like the only place where people could be, so I decided to go there, and hardly had I reached the gates when... Wait, I need to check out these icons. What is that? This eye thingy. Cause it bothers me that I don't know what all these icons mean. Oh great, it's stuck. What? Oh. Okay, whatever. Okay, now the cursor is stuck. A girl came out from behind them, wearing a pioneer uniform. Finally, a human being in sight, if she is one. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, a pioneer uniform in the 21st century, and then again a girl here. I froze, unable to take a step. I felt very much like running away. Running as far as I could from this place, far from this bus, gates, statues, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta. Just running, free like the wind, faster and faster, waving to the planets passing by, winking at the galaxies. Running, becoming a pulsar ray, and turning into vestigial radiation, running to face the unknown. Run no matter where, as long as it is far away from this place. Meanwhile, the girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts were independent of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for cognitive processes, the remaining 95% are always busy sustaining life, and in particular, ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal system. I desperately wanted to get less complicated, and stopped thinking in formal quotes from an encyclopedia. Though my thoughts appeared one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of the hero of some junky softcover crime fiction book. A pretty Slavic face, long braids that looked like two armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes you could drown in. "Hi, you must have just arrived." "Well, of course I will reply. It will be rude not to." Yeah. "Alright then, welcome." She smiled broadly. Strange, it looked as if I had just a normal girl in front of me. Bah, I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seemed better. I agree. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her, as if she was a human, or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more, and the pioneer girl would be splattered with the gruesome contents of my skull. What's so funny about that? The girl looked me over. It sent shivers down my spine, and my knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great then. Great. What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget about the bus behind me, the fact that it was winter yesterday and summer today. I wanted to rip off my itchy sweater and just accept that all of this is actually happening. Everything is as it should be. All this is for the best. Would you happen to know? You should go to our camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look, you go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. She pointed at the gates as if I knew what was behind them. Well, you can ask someone where Olga Dimitrievna's cabin is. Dimitrievna is a patronymic, a derivative of a person's father's name, in this case Dimitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect or formal address. Okay, I've heard of this before. It's like very common in Russian culture. I got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I've got to go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. It seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travellers while awake or asleep was troubling only to me, while everything here is just the way it is supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What, are they doing a historical reenactment here? I hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in this square. But even that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. A mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. Wow, the main character's way of phrasing words is poetic. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do, to approach first or wait until she showed some initiative, or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested only by myself self-preservation instinct. At least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Suddenly somebody jumped out of nearby bushes. Why are all their hairs either flying up or I don't know, their hairs are in weird directions, as in the physics of it. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. Such a perfect reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from a distance and was probably younger than both pioneer girls, the one at the gates and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amazing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Eee! Oh, okay, sorry. I can't imitate that. The first girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, as she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. The USSR glanced at me, grinned playfully and dashed after her. I have no idea what is going on here. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids here role-playing as pioneers. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. It might even be a different reality. And this was indeed a reality. Everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished, that I was starting to think that in fact my previous life could have been just a dream. And what am I supposed to do now? Alright guys, I'll end here for this episode, and I'll see you in the next video.